Hey everybody, this is Drew. Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, we're going to build the Tamiya 1/72nd scale Spitfire Mark 1. And I did do an inbox review of this kit a while back. If you want to check that out, you can see a lot of the details that come with the kit. There's not a lot of parts. And of course, we're going to get going on the cockpit here. And stick around to the end and you can see how it builds up. I hope you enjoy it. So after building the cockpit, I put some Vallejo gray primer on it. Now I'm going to spray everything with this Vallejo Model Air. This is their equivalent of British interior green. And I'm just going to give everything a coat of that. I think it looks pretty good, actually. And here I'm just painting up the seat and the headrest. Sorry for the weird camera angle. I was hoping I could get a little bit closer in on this, but you'll see some good pictures here in a minute of the cockpit all built up. And this is the instrument panel, and I'm going to paint that black. And I'm just painting up some of the instruments and consoles, and I'm going to use a Citadel wash to bring out some details inside where it doesn't look perfectly clean, but just put it on, wipe off the excess, and all done. So I'm going to apply it to the floor as well, and I'm going to use the decal for the shoulder harnesses and seat belts. I think at this scale it's pretty good. It looks okay. Just get that put in place. So in this kit, you basically put the fuselage halves together, and then you insert the cockpit from the bottom. So I'm just using some extra thin, just letting it run through the seams, and it fits great. I found that I did not need any filler. Just needed to sand off the glue and the little plastic that comes up when it melts. Otherwise, it has really nice seam lines. There isn't a decal for the instrument panels, and so I just took a silver colored pencil and just went around and kind of highlighted the raised detail. It's kind of sad because once you get it all closed up, you'll hardly ever see it again, but you know it's there. And now you can kind of see what the cockpit looks like built up, and you attach the instrument panel assembly to the front of it, and then you insert it to the bottom, through the bottom of the fuselage halves. So I'm gonna get that done here, get this glued together. The pieces fit great. There's locator tabs for all your parts in the cockpit, and it's just really well engineered. You should have no problem putting this kit together. And while the fuselage and everything else is drying, I'm going to go ahead and build the wings. This is very simple. It's just basically the bottom portion of the wing assembly is all one piece, and then you just put the top part of the wings on, and they go together really well. I didn't have any issues here. Just test fit first to make sure there's no little plastic burrs that are going to cause some misalignment or fit issues, and sand those off if you need to, but otherwise just almost snap together. Really nice. we'll get these horizontal stabilizers on. Again, no problem here. Just get them even and lined up. Make sure they're on the same plane, so to speak. And then once that's done, you can go ahead and put the cockpit inside the fuselage, and that goes up through the bottom. And just follow the locators, and it just fits great. And so once that's done, you can go ahead and put the wing assembly on, and it's going to start looking like a Spitfire. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but that's good because you won't have any gaps that you really have to deal with. So just listen for the click, snap it in, and there are some parts that you're going to put on the bottom of the wings. I think that's a air cooler or radiator. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but once you get these wings on, there's just a few parts that you're going to put on, and you can see me doing that here in a second. Once I get everything attached and all the seams cleaned up, I'm going to be moving on to painting. So I gave everything a coat of Badger Stein Oversized Gray. I'm doing this version where the underside of the port wing or left wing is black, and so basically I'm going to be painting the bottom of the aircraft using this Vallejo Model Air sky color, and roughly painting the starboard wing and down the middle and the bottom of the horizontal stabilizers, and also along the sides of the aircraft. And once I get that done and it dries really well, I will mask it all off, and I will paint the underside of the starboard wing, the port wing. I'll paint that black, and I'm just going to use some Tamiya flat black for that, and then we'll move on to painting the top camouflage. So while I got the black paint going, I'm going to finish up painting the propeller. I did not film the painting the yellow tips. This is the way I like to do my props, is I paint the yellow tips first, mask those off, and because for me it's easier to paint black on top of yellow that you might have, and I just pick them off and pick the tape off, and I get a really good result. So I really like doing it that way. Works for me. I know some people do it the other way, where they paint it all black and then mask it off and paint the tips. This is Vallejo British Standard Dark Earth. So I'm going to paint the entire top with this color, and then we're going to be using some poster tack to basically create the camouflage pattern. I make little sticky tack worms, and once I got that done, I of course masked off the areas inside, and I'm going to be using this Vallejo British Standard Dark Green, and I'm going to put a link, or at least the numbers, the bottle numbers and stuff in the description, so if you want to see what those are, for your reference. So basically I'm going to be just painting these areas dark green. Now when I unmasked everything, I found some spots where I didn't like. It just didn't look right. And so sometimes on these little planes, little scale kits, I misjudge the scale as far as what I'm masking, and sometimes it's either too big or too small in the air, the dark earth or the green. I also thought while everything's drying, I'm going to go ahead and do the wheels. I painted the tires with Tamiya tire black, let those dry. I'm going to be painting the landing gear silver as well, and that's just the Vallejo metal color silver. So yeah, I'm going to unmask all this, see how I did. Again, there's some areas I didn't like, so I ended up just remasking a couple spots. Like you can see that green on the bottom there of the wing, that was a little bit too pointy and it was a little bit too small, so I went ahead and just masked around it and made it a little bit bigger area. The bottom turned out really well. So and I'm just going to use some sticky tack to pick off the excess sticky tack. There's also a spot on the side that I didn't like. That just required a little bit more remasking. Otherwise, I think it came out pretty good. But once I got all that unmasked, and I'm going to go ahead and use some super glue to attach the exhaust pipes here. And yeah, so we're well on our way. So we're getting close. So hang in there. Appreciate it. I found the landing gear a little bit more fiddly than what I anticipated. I think it's because I tried to, well, I didn't let the glue dry long enough, to be honest with you. I'm using this super glue Loctite gel, and it actually takes a little bit longer to dry than the thinner stuff. So should have waited till it dried really well, because one of the gear doors kept falling off. And yeah, so they do have a locator hole, and they do go in really well. It's just that I get a little impatient sometimes. I'll let things not dry long enough. And I'm going to go ahead and assemble the spinner to the propeller and the backing plate. Get that done here, and just use a couple dabs of super glue. Basically just make sure I get a good bond, because I'm gluing paint to paint. And yeah, so goes in together like that. And here I am fiddling around with the landing gear. So maybe, I don't know, maybe if it was a bigger scale, it would probably be okay. But basically, I finally got them done. Now I'm on the decals, and Tamiya decals, but these weren't too bad. They're thick, they're easy to work with. As you'll see, I get them on, and I use Solvaset, because with thicker decals and stuff, I like a good strong solution. I've never tried the Tamiya stuff, the Mark Fit Strong or anything like that. I'd have to order it. But yeah, I'll get them on, and the only issues I had were on the bottom. When I did the roundels on the bottom, there is a little hump-like thing on the bottom where they go over, and when I was trying to smooth them out, they tore just a little bit. But otherwise, I think they went down pretty well. Just take your time with them, and make sure you squeeze out all the water and the air underneath them, and you shouldn't have any problems. So I did put a really good gloss coat on. I actually put two coats of Vallejo polyurethane gloss, and before I started the decals, so it made them really easy to slide around and work with, and definitely didn't get any silvering on these. So take your time. They work pretty well, and yeah, so I think it came out pretty good. Okay guys, I'm about to wrap this up. I did do some washes and stuff off camera. I used some Vallejo Models Dark Dirt clay-based wash on the bottom. And for the black part, I just used some Vallejo Light Dirt just to bring out the panel lines. And for the smoke streaking on the guns and the shell ejector areas, I just used some Tamiya smoke. I just took a little brush and just lightly brushed some gun smoke. And same thing on the top. So all that's really left is to add the prop, the pitot tube, and the antenna, and I need to paint the landing lights. I usually do that at the very end after I give it all a flat coat, and I also need to put the canopy and the windshield on. So let me put the prop in. There we go. Fits right in there. It's got a poly cap, so it does turn, but not very easy. But that's okay. Okay. So, been a fun little kit. Maybe a wee bit fiddly at times, but anyway. So what I'm gonna do is give it a matte varnish, and I like to use the Vallejo polyurethane varnishes. I have a gloss and a satin. It's pretty good stuff. I really like it, and so you do have to thin it down. It's pretty thick, but I'm gonna give it a matte varnish. Well, actually, I need to put the pitot tube on, so let's get that here. And the antenna. So here's the pitot tube. It's gonna go on this black wing. I should have did that. I should have waited to put the prop on. Maybe I'll see if I can. Well, I don't want to mess it up. So I can do this. There we go. And I'm about to use a little dab of super glue. Fine, there it is. fell off and landed right on my lap. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of this super glue here and put it on this piece of tape and just dip that pitot tube in there. Like I said, these 172 kits might be getting too little fiddly for me, but find a place where it goes. It goes right. There's a little slot right there. Let's say something about the decals. They did okay, except on these areas where there was a rounded part, they kind of tore when I was trying to get the air bubbles and stuff out. But you know, it's hard to see, and nobody's going to be looking at my model on the bottom, except me. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this with tweezers. We'll see. Just dip it. And if I need to touch up the part where I took it off the sprue, I'll just do that with a little paintbrush here in a second. It's right there. Somewhere. Okay, now we need to do let's do the antenna. I just gotta find it. Same thing, I'm gonna I find it best on these tiny little parts just to leave them on the sprue, paint them that way, and then you can take a little brush and clean up that part where you cut it off. That's not a big deal. And this just gets real hard to trim it. Okay, same thing. I'm going to just dip it in some super glue. Goes right there. Look. I hit the pitot tube. Maybe it'll stay there. It's Sunday morning. I've been drinking coffee like crazy, so you can tell my hands. Enjoy my coffee. Just dip it in some super glue gel. Just like so. Looks even with the tail, I think. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Just had the pitot tube. Oh boy. Yeah. I didn't think that would come off that quick, but one thing I did that I usually do after I've done the flat coat is I painted the areas where I'm going to make the lights or paint the lights. And so for that, I love using these silver markers. Fantastic. I usually do it after the flat coat because I don't want to flatten it out. So I just got ahead of myself and did that. So I might just cover that little part up with some sticky tack, and that way it's still real shiny. And then I can take my clear red, that's the identification light, and then you got your navigation landing lights on the side, on the tips of each wings. Okay, so I'm gonna let these dry like really hard. Okay. 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 All right. Okay, so once those kind of things kind of dry, I'm going to give a flat coat, and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I think I'm done. So ready? Drum roll. Here we go. Ta-da! It's my little Spitfire Mark 1. It's a really fun kit. Of course, it's Tamiya, and if you're beginning to get into models, this is definitely one that I would recommend. It's really cool. Goes together nice. Might be a little bit fiddly, but certainly a younger man can handle it. Painted the landing lights on the wings with some red. It's going to be green. And this identification light here is orange. Yeah, it'll look good on your shelf. The only trouble I had really was trying to get the windscreen to fit properly, so but it'll look okay. And I did the rigging using some easy line stuff here. This is the fine, so I need to get some more. This was a sample that I bought off eBay. This is the easy line stuff. It's really good. But yeah, it's stretchy. Be careful where I'm grabbing, because that pitot tube, I've already lost it once. But there we go. There she is. A lot of fun, guys. So thanks for joining me here. If you haven't subscribed, I do appreciate it if you would. Give me a thumbs up. Give any comments you might have. I do appreciate it. And I have a few photographs for you to take a look at. And I will see you on the next build. Take care, everybody. Happy modeling. We'll see you.